Okay, we're going to get into a Wednesday wrangle. And, of course, I've got Sky News host Liz Storer on the set with me.
Hello.
But filling in for Justin Smith again, wonderfully,
Big shoes.
Big shoes.
Big shoes. But I've got the look, I've got the stubble, I've got the glasses, I'm doing my best.
Well, I think it's working for you. It's working for him because I think he's hosting radio on the ABC at the moment. So that's where you could be headed next.
It's so bizarre. He's allowed to do both, but just not at the same time. We're happy to play nice with them. They don't want to be associated with us.
If anybody's
Gotcha.
listening to ABC Radio in Melbourne, let us know whether Justin actually ever mentions on air that he does a regular Sky News gig. I think he might keep it
Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, I think.
Anyway, we wish him all the best. I want to first start off with this citizenship test and the fact that a third of people applying for citizenship in Australia fail the test. And I wonder how many of us would pass it.
Let's go.
Anzac Day. What do we remember on Anzac Day? All Australians who have fought and died in wars, the creation of an independent Australian nation, or the arrival of the first fleet from Great Britain?
Hey.
That's a pretty easy question, isn't it? I hate to think that people are failing
Is it C? Yep, okay, that's pretty easy.
If it was C, they'd be banning Anzac Day as well. What are the colours of the Australian Aboriginal flag?
Okay, that's pretty
We're
easy.
going to get
Black,
that.
red, yellow, yeah.
Funny they don't ask the colours of the Australian flag, but there you go. Which is correct in Australian law? Men and women have equal rights. Men have more rights than women. Women have more rights than men. Obviously, women have got more rights.
Again, in my household, it is definitely C. It's definitely C.
Well, when did the separate colonies join together to become the Australian nation?
New Year's Day, 1901.
You're dead right.
Boom.
Do they want the day? I was
No,
just going to
just
say
the
the
year. Just go the year.
But the fact
You were
that
gonna
it's
get it wrong, weren't
multiple
you?
choice. No, I was about to say
Multiple choice,
1901.
yeah.
Please, it's Federation. But the fact that it's multiple choice makes it even worse if someone fails. It's like,
You
we're
can't
only
fail this.
asking for a 75% pass rate here. You can get a quarter of these wrong, but there's the answers. You just have to know which one to pick.
Well, I'll tell you what, this one, I've just seen this one. I haven't seen all of them. This is a test example, but I reckon this one's tricky. Who can deliver a welcome to country? Anyone that lives on the land? An Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander custodian of the land? A master of ceremonies at the end of the event?
Well, according to
A or
actual
B?
Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups, the answer is A, because they're complaining that absolutely anyone can do it. And they're not actually going
But
to
in reality, it's like all of the
traditional
above.
owners.
Anyone can turn up and either do a welcome or an acknowledgement. But
Anyone can do an acknowledgement, but you're meant to, the welcome
Sure.
is meant to be a, acknowledgement is just saying, hi, I'm here, I'd like to pay my respects, blah, blah. Strangely, after paying their respects to the elders, past, present and emerging, they never really do anything after that. They just sort of say it. And that's what I've always had an issue with the acknowledgement, because it's like, well...
Are you saying it should be longer? What are you suggesting?
No, I'm just saying it's kind of as someone who I suppose, and Chris is the same, who cares a lot about in addressing Indigenous disadvantage. It seems to me,
Which Welcome to Country does not do.
the most. That's right. It seems to me the epitome of empty, actionless virtue signalling.
Yeah.
It's like, Qantas saying, oh, we'd like to welcome you to Sydney to your ordination gate, all that.
Yeah.
So, how about just shut up and give some money to the...
Sure.
do something. Yeah. Good point, well made, Joe, but I'm sorry you failed your Australian citizenship test. No one wants to have that discussion anymore.
I think it's great that we still have a test, though.
Yeah.
And more to the point, my question reading this today was, what are you doing living in my country? Because these aren't people who are visiting without knowing the answer to these questions. You think that some of them are quite dicey. I genuinely don't.
No, they're pretty easy.
The fact that if I was moving to another country, I would take the effort out of respect for that country and the place I want to call home and the people therein to be familiar enough to pass a multiple choice question test. There's only 20 questions. We're not asking for much here. And in order, the ultimate prize for citizenship
is the
I'm
golden
more like,
ticket.
what are you doing here in the first place?
But also, surely, where is capitalism? Where is the market on this? Like, surely there should be a black market side hustle on all these people say, hey, mate, you want a copy of the immigration test? And get you guaranteed A+.
Right. Let's get it back to some grubby partisan politics and let's have a look at this fundraiser, an ALP fundraiser, which was based on a slur against Peter Dutton, the Potato Night. It's a bit pathetic. At Albo, apparently, Joe has had to pull in the troops, so you can't go around slagging off personalities and the like.
But again, for the umpteenth time, like the Victorian branch of the Labor Party did the same thing, where they did a really funny meme about how Peter Dutton's wife was, had married a monster.
Oh,
it's like, I mean, firstly, it's just nasty, and it just shows that you're a pretty, sh**t human being if you think that that's funny. B, it's an act of self-harm because the backlash, it always reflects so much worse on the person doing it. And Albo is a genuinely decent guy, but he also would know that this is a massive own goal. Every time Labor does something like this, it is a massive own goal. Like when the social media account did, a picture of, ScoMo shaking Donald Trump's hand. It's the company you keep.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's going to have to shake Donald Trump's hand now, you numpty. So it is just
Kevin Rudd.
That's right. So it is mean and rude and nasty, but beyond all that, it just shows how incredibly stupid these people are.
Always going to backfire. It's like the three-eyed fish. I see they've got an inflatable one turning up. It's like how to undermine your own anti-nuclear argument is to go with that nonsense.
Yeah, massive, what is it, polystyrene or something? I mean, really climate friendly here. But I love it when Labor and Liberals, they've done distasteful things before in the past, do these kind of things because when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Nobody's, like you've said, Joe, nobody's winning any votes off the back of being so nasty. Dutton has said, I have a skin condition. That's why I don't have eyebrows. That's why I don't have hair. And I'm reminded of the Margaret Thatcher quote who said, I'm always immensely cheered up when someone gets a personal in their attacks toward me because it means they've run out of political attacks and that's all they really care about. So if people want to play this below the belt, it just shows them up to be the losers that they
How
are.
successful has the Peter Dutton so unpopular no one will ever vote
really
for him? He's Australia's Donald Trump. How good is that strategy going?
It's working
I
beautifully.
tell you, one fascinating sidelight out of the California fires where we've seen all the climate alarmists talk about climate change rather than looking after the bush and whatnot. DiCaprio, what's his first name?
Leo
DiCaprio, also a great climate campaigner and all. Well, apparently he's been able to escape the bushfire scene in his private jet. The great climate campaigner, he's out of there.
This is the guy who goes to the UN and lectures everybody else on what a disaster this is and how we must all act immediately. I've got no time for this guy whatsoever. He's one of the many elitists who preach, but they certainly don't practice.
Yeah, there's a little bit
amazing. But every time he turns up at any event and says anything about climate change, everyone always says, but you flew here on a private jet. And does the private jet not have the internet? Is he not picking up on what's being said?
Not computing.
There's no internet in the seat of Dixon, so Labor candidates don't realise that they're not supposed to publish.
He's got to get a big shed. I think they call it a hangar. Hide the private jet. Don't tell anyone where you're going.
That's right. No, this is just my clothes rack.
Thanks for wrangling with us, Joe.
Thanks,
Liz, great stuff.
Cheers.
We'll catch you next week.